create a custom box with your favorite cookies, bars, and cupcakes, plus gluten-free, sugar.
Just doing black ink. HM, what up? Just watch the Game Awards, bunch of bullshit. I didn't even know there was a Game Awards. What's up, Egg? Yes, I am still on vacation until next Monday, so I'm gonna take full advantage of it. I have been incredibly lazy. The amount of stuff I could have got done versus what I've actually done, actually kind of disgusting. Yeah, I used to ink with the brush a lot of the time, but then I kept finding these technical tools and keep kind of defaulting towards them. But I was watching parts of a live stream earlier today where a professional inker was using old school traditional tools, and I'm like, I need to get back to that, like a handheld brush and a nib. No, it's a brush. I do have, you know, the nib right here, which I'm gonna use a little bit. In fact, I kind of want to use it right now. I forgot that I put a brand new tip on it recently and haven't used it hardly at all. So it's sharp as a razor blade. Let's dig that out. I don't know if I'd say a nib is easier, at least for me. It's trickier. HM, these aren't any characters for anything. This is just a redraw of an ancient drawing, a very old drawing I did a long time ago. I lightboxed the old drawing a couple of nights ago. It's just something to draw, something to fool around with. They're nothing. This is nothing. They're nobody.
Since 1876. You've been around that long, you can spot.
I've done that before, Egg. I've had to learn to like kind of like you're saying, you kind of overwork it. So you have to kind of work on them in a way that feels like you underwork it and then walk away from it and then come back and reevaluate. And maybe you've like, all right, there's actually enough on there, even though I thought that maybe they could use more. But yeah, it ends up becoming a big, thick, globally goop. And it's not awesome. And you're like, well, that I just fucked that up. Mauricio, no Pearl Jam in the background. Yeah, you're just trying to be super aware so you don't repeat mistakes. I get it. Yeah. Well, the night is young, Mauricio, so, you know, who knows? Maybe some Pearl Jam will just magically show up. Listening to the soundtrack to the movie In Bruges. Have you guys seen that movie? I watched I like to watch these YouTubers that have never seen it before, and they watch these movies for the first time, these reactors. And I was watching this one chick watch it for the first time and like not knowing what's coming in that movie. I forget how funny it is, how dark it is, how good the writing is. It's so brilliant. So, and I've owned the soundtrack for a long time. I actually listen to the soundtrack often, but I forgot how goddamn good that movie is. I suspect that it will tip in the favor of culture. You know what I'm not good at is inking with a brush or a nib and doing big curves. Like when there's like a circle, we have to basically reverse direction. You're coming one way and you have to make a curve and go the other direction. That shit is complicated. Yeah, and that's kind of the only way to do it, at least at my dumb retarded like skill level. There's no other way to do it. But it's hard to make it look like, the idea is to make it look like it's one smooth line stroke and it ends up looking kind of like not. I know I'm also I've heard a bunch of inkers say the same thing, and Chuck, my friend inker guy, who's who knows, he's always telling me, yeah, Sandra Hope is a pro. She makes it look easy. She's so good. But I'm told to throw ink strokes away from the body. Have the line start here and end that way. Because it's more freeing and more open like that. But I'm so used to bringing it towards me. But it feels more constrictive because as I bring my hand towards my body, I lose some of the freedom of the movement as opposed to just all the freedom to throw your hand pivoting at the elbow away. It's a trick. Inking is, I love it. It's fun, but man, it's truly an art form. But yeah, I love watching Sandra Hope. I follow her on Instagram and watching her throw those lines. I follow her, Matt Banning, the inker. I'm not sure how to say his last name, Livesay, or if it's pronounced some other way. He's always doing inking demos. Scott Williams. Follow all those inkers. Yeah, I hate it, right? It's a tricky craft. And then I always get this ink on my finger like that because I'm holding it like I'm pressing, kind of like, I don't know, I'm pushing the brush into this part of my hand. So I've got a little divot right there, if you can see. So it's like a little slot to fit the brush into, but I always dip the brush too far into the ink, so ink crawls up the brush, so that I'm always have this black smudge on my finger. Well, not always, but when I'm inking. And then sometimes I forget I have it there, and I start recording a video, and then I've got this black splotch on my finger. Like, I get people yelling at me for having dirty fingernails. Which I've actually made a point to pay attention to. I find myself cleaning my fingernails as I'm starting to talk on a video. I've got a little thing over here. I'm sitting here like cleaning out under my fingernails as I'm doing my little opening monologue on my video. So before I put my hands into view, people will stop bitching about it.
Want brighter, even radiant skin? Try our research-backed vitamin C formula, which will.
Yeah, I've heard nothing but that Scott Williams is a nice guy. Chuck Gibson will talk about him all the time, saying he's just the nicest guy. Chuck got to sit next to Scott Williams and get advice and training on inking directly from Scott Williams. And Chuck has nothing but the nicest things to say about him. I mostly agree, Egg. But I was talking with Chuck and some other people online, and I have to say that something about Scott Williams inking these days is different. It's not the same. And through various conversations, some people were saying that, and I think Chuck was telling me this, that Scott's lines aren't the way that they used to be. I mean, the guy's in his 60s, and the word is that he's got a very bad back, And so, one, he doesn't like using nibs anymore like he used to. So, the ink line that he used to do, he just doesn't get anymore with the tools he uses. And I was also told that his back is so bad that he can't even sit in a chair anymore. Somebody was saying that he has to lie on his back. So he's got some kind of setup to have the art above him. And so that's why he's using like technical pens and stuff like that, because you can't ink with the setup um upside down essentially. Now, I don't know for a fact that all of that is true, but the sources I got it from, I believe they would not make this up. So, but I was looking at some old Whilce Portacio X-Men, and I was looking at the ink lines on like Wolverine's legs. I'm like, I think these lines, these pen nib strokes are so perfect, and Scott doesn't ink that way anymore. And that's where we got into the conversation of how Scott doesn't use the same tools and his back is really screwed up. And so he has to approach the craft entirely differently now. So, I mean, when you've spent what, 3 decades at least sitting at a table bent over, I mean, that could fuck your back up. It's sad to hear. That super sucks.
What's the left story time? Rick Woods.
Yeah, he uses markers. Like he uses technical pens and things like that. He doesn't use, at least for the most part, brushes and the Hunt 102. So the line work, the pen strokes, the ink strokes, it's just not the same. And I have to say, looking at the new black and white artwork on the Hush series, it's because it's Scott Williams, it's far and away better than most inkers could ever do. But I look at it, I'm like, it's not as interesting as it used to be. Yeah, take care of your health, taking meal breaks, exercising. Like if you keep your body strong, you can stand to sit here for much longer stretches of time. If you're moving, you're exercising, your muscles are strong, you're flexible, stuff like that. I would totally 100% believe that to extend your life. I mean, I mean that in like your artistic creative life, so your body is not in such pain from sitting in the way that you're normally used to. You just can't do it anymore. Well, I've never been one to um, forget to eat. In fact, I could stand to forget to eat. Um, but getting out and exercising is definitely something that is going to catch up with me. All right, Egg. Thanks for stopping in, man. I'm enjoying these late nights that I have on my vacation while I have them, because in a few short days I'll be having to do the same thing, like, back to work.
including rural essentials. With everything taken care of, locally exotic, accessible, thanks to unsuitable prices. Worth a month.
Yeah, like I said, I'm just waiting on that reorder. I put that in, and as soon as they get it to me, it'll be on the way to you.
Value saving video overpriced travel insurance plans offered at checkout. With travel insurance from ING, you can save up to 56%. Exciting news from Shell's. Create a custom box with your favorite cooking, pies, and cupcakes, plus
Builders talking with Holiday Magic from us. Check out their list of styles from Noodle and Blend. Kids' jeans. Different bacteria solutions for the results. Get clinically proven formulas to beat breakouts, clear congestion.
Montoya. How you doing, man? Nibs, right? I was watching Mr. Peter Palmiotti inking earlier, and I'd asked him about what kind of tools he uses, and if I remember correctly, he said like the sable hair, or not the sable hair, but some kind of Winsor Newton whatever brush, and I think he said nibs. So I was like, "Oh, you're a Jedi Knight." And so I'm like, God, I haven't done those in a long time. I keep using all my tech pens and stuff. So I'm like, I wanted to bust out the brush and the Hunt 102, just kind of get, familiar with it again. I wanted to get back in touch with my inner Jedi. You know what? That is basically the reason I've never invested in a good brush. And I'm not saying it like I'm proud of it, but the super good brushes are so expensive. And being as honest with myself as I can, I know I would not take care of it. I know I hear about some of these artists say that they like even have shampoo for their brushes. Because some of them were, the sable hair brushes are actually hair from some kind of fucking rodent, which I think they can't do anymore because it got on the endangered list. But they take hyper good care of it, like actually shampooing the bristles with brush on certain types. And I know myself good enough to know that I would not take care of that brush. That I just would not. It wouldn't last, and the cost would have been way too much for me to just fuck it up. So what I do is I buy these big packs of cheap bullshit brushes, and they tend to work fine for a little while, and then they just eat shit and die. So then I just move on to another new cheap brush, and I'm not mad when it's dead because I didn't spend that much money on it in the first place. I'm not saying that's a good way to do it, but I am saying that that is how I do it. Monty, you still have some Hunt 102s from college days? Dude, what are they made of? Are they made of adamantium? Or the second stupidest material, bone? I'm just referring to my video today. I had some Hunt 102s when I first started using them, and I was being hyper precious with them. But then I watched a how-to inking video by Joseph Weems, and I was watching him flex the shit out of the nibs. And I'm like, oh, the way you get the lines out of these things that you want is you have to push on them and let them flex and move. But what that does is it increases the opportunity to bend it and fuck it up. And so I don't expect these nibs to last very long if I'm really working them. Sheldon, what's up, dude? You were just watching Death of Power? That series is wacky, and I love it. And there's a little bit of inspiration that I get from Kurt Burdick for creating a comic that goes so over the top adult that makes me feel like it's okay to do the dumb shit that I'm doing. Because he takes that stuff to a whole other level. And I love it. I think the thing that helps sell it is that he's actually a fantastic artist. And I was talking with Chuck, and he's like, I bet that guy's got a background in graphic design, considering his layouts and his use of color and his use of like lettering in the art. I even remember Chuck Gibson telling me that it's funny, we were talking about Scott Williams just earlier on the stream. I don't remember if you were here when we were doing it, but Chuck was telling me that Scott Williams was talking one time how he was using one of these nibs and it caught the paper and bent and flicked. It broke and sent little microscopic chunks of razor sharp metal in his face. And he's saying that it almost got in his eye. And ever since then, he's kind of didn't want to use Hunt 102s. Like, can you imagine getting a tiny metal shard like this flicked into your fucking eyeball and it just destroys it? So ever since I heard that story, I've been really careful because I've had these nibs as I'm using them, they'll catch on the paper fibers and hold, and then it'll spit ink all over the place when it releases, and it just fires it everywhere. So there's a certain amount of like risk you're taking using this shit. Yeah, they have sharp tips. Yeah, it's crazy. I just can't imagine getting one lodged in my eyeball. I'd be done. I mean, that's it. I'm losing my eye over this.
Create a custom box with your favorite muffin and cupcakes, plus gluten-free.
Kurt Burdick reminds you of James Edward Clark. I can see that. There's some similarities for sure. But Kurt Burdick's use of color, it's so crazy. And again, his integration of the lettering and the sound effects into the actual art and the storytelling as a visual piece, not just like a bit of something you're supposed to read. Like it's made me rethink like I don't do any of that elaborate lettering like that because I don't have the patience for it, but man, he makes a case for doing it the right way. Yeah, if you see an inker with an eye patch, you know why, for sure. Yeah, you know what, Monty? I was watching. We were talking. I watch a live say. He's an inker. I don't know if I'm saying his name right, but he was doing some inking with the Hunt 102 like this, and I was watching the way he did it. It's the opposite of what I thought, but he held it straight up and down, and he was doing these flicks. And let's see if I can kind of get it to work. Kind of like that, and that's kind of getting the fades that I've always kind of wanted these things to have with the thick at the base and going into a fine point. And like I kind of even like the way that those look right there. And I was like, he makes it look so easy, and he's doing all this amazing cross hatching. And so that's why I've been trying to do the same thing with these like ink strokes up here in the wings, trying to get that sharp Hunt 102 ink throw like you see a bunch of image inkers do. And I want that look, but it is hard to do. So, and I cannot get anything close to the same with my damn technical pens, the Tombow ones that I have, or any Repeatograph or anything. There's only a certain line that I seem to be able to get close to getting with this damn nib. Yeah, I watch Richard Friend. I've seen some of his inking tutorials on YouTube. He's so good. God, I wish he'd do that goddamn Blaster Kid comic like he was talking about for so long. The artwork that he shared on that is holy Lord. Yeah, I've tried that too. And I've heard I even got a chance to talk to Dexter Vines, the inker. I've actually got a chance to talk to him twice. Once a couple years ago, and then once just a few months ago. And he's the one who told me go thin to thick. So I was watching one professional inker go like the way I just showed you here, from thick to thin. But Dexter Vines says go thin to thick. And see if I can. Yeah. It lays down so much ink, like it wastes so much. So, kind of like that. It's easier with a brush, I think, to go the thin to thick. I've heard that Richard Friend, like somebody said, like his father got sick or something like that, and he had to maybe take on some paying jobs to help cover some bills or something like that. But yeah, he was talking a couple of years ago about having a crowdfunder go a long time ago. It kind of sucks that it hasn't happened because I'm going to back the shit out of that. Finch said that Rich had that idea like 15 to 20 years ago. Don't we all have these brilliant ideas of things that we're going to do? But then life just creeps up and sucks our will to live. It's sucking my will to live. It certainly does suck. He did a sign up page 4 years ago. I didn't know he even had a sign up page. Shit. Yeah, the preliminary stuff he'd shown. It's like Richard Friend, he's not just an inker. I mean, any professional inker, we all know, you have to be an artist first. You can't have no artistic talent and be a good inker. But like Richard Friend was taking it to a whole new level with the stuff that he could do. I'm like, oh my God, this is going to be one of the greatest things ever. I can't wait for this. And now we're years later. Hopefully he'll get to it before either he dies or before I die. Watch me die in a car crash tomorrow. Yeah, I used to watch Kelsey Shannon and him do live streams, and I would follow Kelsey separately, but I haven't seen him post anything forever, unless I'm just missing it. I mean, I thought I was following his stuff. Hell, he even did a live stream with some other guys, and they even mentioned my YouTube channel, but that was like a year ago, maybe 2 years ago. So they even mentioned me. They're like, yeah, Rob Norton was doing a video and he talked about this. So, but Richard Friend, he started posting comic reviews recently. He's come back with a vengeance a little bit. He's posted 3 or 4 videos, I think. So, who knows? Hopefully he's getting back at it. Kelsey falls off the face of the earth and doesn't return emails for months at a time. That's messed up. I mean, I guess I don't know the circumstances of whatever's going on, but it's like if you're going to do art, the only way you survive is by cultivating an audience. And so if you're kind of not paying attention to your audience, well, what else are you going to do? Kelsey was the main caretaker of his mom and her health isn't that good. Well, that sucks. Again, life comes before the art. But I don't know. Everyone's situation is different. I'm just lucky to be in the position that I'm in.
Make the holidays sweeter with a gift that's been made with the finest ingredients for over 100 years. Russell Silver Chocolates. Great chocolate.
My vacation has been going just fine. In as much as I've wasted a lot of time. I think of all the stuff I'm going to do. I could do this, I could do that. I've gotten some, I had some personal business I had to get squared away, life stuff. I got to get this, I got to get that, I got to get this information. Did all that. Um, got some creative stuff kind of squared away. Had to get some packages in the mail. I was fortunate enough to have a couple of folks buy some comics. Full set went to you. Full set went to another fella, Egg, who was in here earlier. Although, ironically, Sheldon, I should mention, I kind of didn't realize I'd lost track of how many copies of my final volume I had still available. And you got the last one, besides the one that I kept in reserve for myself, like my own kind of reader copy. And so I had to tell the other guy, Egg, I said, I've I just sold the last one that I had. So I have reordered another batch of them. I did that just today, and they're on the way. But your package is in the mail. Yeah, you did get the last one of the original kind of, because I get them from Comic Wellsprings in batches of 25 issues, and again, besides the one that I keep for myself, which is as dumb as it sounds, it's the first one I pulled out of the box. Because with that one, I didn't have enough time to get a proof copy. Yeah, sorry, Egg. Because usually I order a proof copy, and that's the one that I keep for myself. But last time I did this, I didn't have enough time to order it and have it in hand in time for the comic convention I was going to. So I got the digital proof and it looked fine, but I'm like, I guess we'll see. And it worked out. There's some minor, like, there's one or two places where the lettering is kind of trapped behind the binding on the book. It's like on the first page. There's a few bits of dialogue where you have to kind of flex the book back to see the text, but it only happens in like one or two places because it's so thick. The binding on the book is so thick on it because there's so many pages. It's 166 interior pages. It's crazy. Oh, Sheldon, yeah, absolutely, dude. I mean, fuck you, no. Of course you can. Is it done? You've got a yeah, yeah, 166 pages. Now there's a bunch of back matter. There's a bunch of pinups and pages where I write stuff, so it's not all art, but like 90% of those 166 pages are the story. Yeah, a year ago, when I was, well, a little more than a year ago, last summer, when I was finishing that book up, I was close to producing a page a day. Um, I was on the best roll I've ever been on, and it was pretty spectacular. But boy, was I burned out by the end. Like, good Lord. How many pages is it, if you don't mind my asking? Definitely the Interstellar soundtrack. So, first one is 50 pages. That's not insubstantial at all. That's awesome. Yeah, man. I'd like to see it. trying to figure out how to pronounce your name. Targowanik. Sorry, I'm probably pronouncing that terribly. What comic series would I say has the best combo of art and writing? I'm one of those guys where I can never reduce anything down to this is the best ever. Like if somebody were to ask me what's my favorite movie, can't give you one. Depending on my mood, it might be like one specific thing at the moment that I'm like, this is probably it. But tomorrow, it'd be something else. So, Master's Ed, right? Yeah, my own stuff. Hell yeah. If I could give a couple examples, right now, currently, like tomorrow, I've got a video coming out on issues 2 and 3 of Skinbreaker, and I am into that shit big time. Now, and I talk extensively about it in my video, where I've heard some people say they're not particularly into the story. It's a little simple, but I see it going somewhere, and I kind of appreciate the simple. So, as a current thing that I'm super excited about is Skinbreakers rocking my world. But over the course of my life, Frank Miller on Sin City. Frank Miller, he's lost his goddamn mind, but his shit on Sin City was just rocking. I loved it. Watchmen, maybe the best example of story and art. Chris Claremont and John Byrne's X-Men run. Eric Larson's Savage Dragon, up through issue 75, to me is a perfect comic series. And then he ruined it instantly in one issue, and then it's never been as good since. Honestly, Blood Force, I'm not even kidding. I'm not kidding. Mitch knows how much I fucking love that thing, and I'm not just saying it to kiss his ass, because I don't need to kiss his ass, because we're all homies, but I have legitimately been so entertained by that book. I'm like, I cannot believe how fun it is. So there is several examples of stuff that I'm like, this stuff is kicking ass.
Radiant skin? Try our research-backed vitamin C formulas. Boost flow in 4 to 15 minutes with our C15 Super Booster. Hydrate and brighten with C5 Moist.
One Punch Man. I've never seen anything on it. I'm aware of it,
5% vitamin C.
but I've never seen anything about it, so I don't know anything. I might have to look at it. Yeah, Mitch he's one of these guys that's got a natural flair for it. He knows what he's doing. I mean, if you watched my video talking about it, and that video in terms of an independent book, I think is the highest viewed video of an independent book I've ever done. It got 1,000 views. And that's far and away higher than any other indie book that I've ever looked at. So, and I think Mitch said it kind of helped propel him in his kind of hemming and hawing about should he do a crowdfunder or not. I think he said that kind of helped him feel like maybe there's an audience for it and maybe it would work. So I like to think that I helped in a little way. But yeah, Mitch he's just, I was so, if that dude can get paid from his comic as his only job, would be great for all of us. Yeah, all right, yeah, the Kingdom Come, really digging both the writing and the art. The art is the most impressive. Yeah, the art is like, wow. But I feel like that's another one of those where the story, like they have something to say. And they are saying it, and I like it. Oh yeah, you hadn't heard of Blood Force before my video? Well, that's awesome. That's good to know. Oh, you did a few. Sheldon, didn't you say you bought that cover being inked by Palmiotti? Is that? Do I remember that correctly? Was that you? That double cover he's working on right now? Or you say Absolute Batman? I've only read issue 1 of Absolute Batman, but I was into it. I liked it. The issue 6. Yeah, I gotta say, like, Mitch does good on his own artwork for sure, but the inking that I've seen that Palmiotti's doing on that thing, given, approaching Mitch's artwork with a cleaner kind of aesthetic, because Mitch is pretty like sketchy and rough, and I'm not saying that as a negative at all, but it's looking really good from what I can see. Yeah, Ari, you like the take on Batman? I mean, I read it and I was like, I mean, it's just another Batman story, but it is an interesting spin on the Batman story. Yeah, it looks like their stuff is melding really well together. Yeah. I suspect, because if I understand correctly, Mitch isn't used to penciling that cleanly and that detailed, because he pencils pretty rough because he just inks himself. So I wonder if it was kind of a, I don't want to say a struggle, but it's out of his comfort zone. But the pencils looked fantastic, and seeing Palmiotti ink it up, make it look slick and clean, I'm like, it's looking really good. Palmiotti even one time said a little while ago that when he gets a free moment that him and I should collaborate together. So I'm like, yeah, all right. You don't have to twist my arm. And then I've got a guy who's done some finishing for Liefeld that wants to collaborate with me. So that'll be awesome. Did he say that, Sheldon? Was that on the stream today? I was actually out driving when I was jumping in on that stream today, if that's the one you're referring to, which is why I kind of came and went. That's what she said. But did he say that? Because sometimes I'm like, sometimes people say something and I'm like, I wonder if they really meant it. But then if it's like, it's brought up in my absence that they still want to do the thing, that it makes me, it kind of reinforces that he meant it, So, not that I didn't think that he didn't mean it, but I'm always kind of critical of myself. I'm like, no one would want to fucking work with me. I'm a nobody. I got nothing to offer. me and my crappy artwork, but then somebody comes along and says, hey, let's do this. Really? But why would you want to do that? I'm a nobody. So I got a lot of self-defeating inner talk. Oh, so maybe a different stream still. Okay, well, shit. I have to get my shit in gear here. It's crazy how many layers of this damn ink I feel I have to put on this page because a single layer has some bleed through, even though it's jet black India ink. I got to shellac a couple layers on here to cover it so it stays jet black. Daniel Gonzalez, you are inking too? Well, you are a bad motherfucker. But you know that. I kind of hyped up your book, and I am glad that I did, because that thing is awesome. Have you sold out of copies of your book yet, or do you do it kind of a print on demand thing? Or I'm just kind of curious. Not that you have to tell me anything. Your business is your business, but I'm just kind of curious if you've moved as many copies of your book that you as you wanted to. You're almost sold through? Well, that's awesome. Glad to hear that. Thanks, Montoya. I appreciate it, man. Thanks for stopping in.
Years ago, I started this thing. First product I ever made was the All Day Shorts. To me, it's the ultimate hybrid short. And this year, we cooked up a brand new recipe, taking all the features we love about the All Day Short and taking them to the next level. So the first thing is the fabric. So it's a lighter weight fabric made through and the interior waistband.
Oh yeah, there's 100% of a Mignola thing going on there. That was me kind of trying to do a simplification of heavy shadows and shapes. Yeah, you're not wrong at all. Just if you're gonna rip off somebody, rip off the best, right? So, Daniel Gonzalez, how far are you into your current comic project? I see you posting a lot of pages and in progress stuff, and it's looking fantastic. I'm sure I've said before, but as with the last one, I can't wait to see this one done. Thanks, Sheldon. Thanks for stopping in, man. And Daniel, 22 out of 34. Hey, that's awesome, man. You're cranking them out. They look fantastic. Wind Block Customs No Bull 8197. That is a hell of a name. Thank you. I appreciate that very, very much. Thank you. Well, Mr. Gonzalez, it probably goes without saying, but in case you needed any confirmation, when you get it done, I will show it on the channel, man. I would love to help see you get as much exposure as you can get, man. Your stuff is too good. And if I can help put that out there visually somehow to somebody anywhere and help you out, I am happy to do that. It was going to be 10 pages originally, but then it grew a lot more. Dude, that is not a small amount of growth. But that's exactly what happened to me on my He-Man fan comic. Like, book one, I've got 6 volumes, but book one was originally the end of the story, but I kept thinking about it, and it kept growing and growing and growing until suddenly it's 6 volumes, and the last one was 120 something pages of story. Man, it just got out of hand. Windblock, you have commented on my page a couple of times. You can check out some of your artwork. Are you talking about on Instagram? Or YouTube or what? Just so I know. Uh-oh, I need a ruler. YouTube. Are you under the same name? Is the one that you show here is the one that pops up on YouTube? Because as weird as it sounds, sometimes that stuff does change. And I will say that I do read every comment. I used to respond to every comment, but I don't know how to say this without sounding potentially douchebaggy, but I get so many comments anymore. I can't possibly respond to them all unless there's a specific question, and then I'm in a space where I can either respond right then or I just forget sometimes. But I do read every comment, but I get like 150 comments a week, and it's just kind of hard to keep up in terms of responding to everybody. But I used to when I started, when I had nothing. Well, thanks, man. I appreciate that. Oh, pardon my hiccups. Mr. Pritchard, how is it going? About ready to head home from work, I assume? Yeah, Daniel, that's some crazy growth on your He-Man. I actually just finished some pages that are going towards near of the start of the story because some storytelling wasn't making sense. No, I get it, man. Sometimes, you construct a thing and you think it'll work, but then you start looking at it with a fresh perspective and you're like, I got to add. So it just starts building. For me, it was just like I had all these ideas that I got down and I got the initial story done, but I'm like, okay, but then what next? What happens next? And I just kept building on it in my head. I'm like, well, I have to keep going because one of the greatest things I ever did is I decided to start making comics for me. I had been working with some independent publishers who were fantastic guys, but we were not selling anything. We weren't making anything. We were making comics, but no one was looking at them. And I was drawing their ridiculous, bullshit, dumb looking crap. And I decided, like, I'm done. If I'm going to spend a lot of time making art that no one will see, I'd rather draw shit that I want to. And so, as dumb as it sounds, but I feel like I hit the comic book jackpot lottery when I decided to make comic books for me, with at the expense of not caring that one, I'll ever own it because it's a He-Man fan comic, and not caring that two, no one will ever see it. Who cares? But just make it. I wanted to see it. And that's how the He-Man fan comic got started. And I just kept going and going and going, and now I've got 6 damn volumes. But I never thought that I'd see it through to the end because it was so big in my head. But it is there. It's done. It's completed. It's in my hands. I've got it in the hands of several other people. So I'm glad that I did it. Mr. Pritchard, paperwork will be the death of you. I get it, man. For sure. But yeah, Mr. Gonzalez, make the book that you want. And put everything into it. And again, I mean it, dude. Like your work, you should be having a career making comics. I get a feeling like back in the heyday of the 90s and stuff like that, somebody would have picked you up by now with your skill level. But now it's kind of like you kind of have to just build your own brand. So doing that social media shit, as tedious and boring as it sounds, might be a way to go. Um, Depending on what your ultimate goals and interests are. Yeah, man, it's like I said, I put a lot of years into it, and I had storyboarded the thing out to the end. And I remember looking at the storyboards going, this scene will be in probably volume 5. I am working on volume 2. It's going to be so long before I get to this awesome scene that I can't wait to draw. I'm like, who knows? I mean, am I going to lose interest? Am I going to be able to sustain and see it through to the end? But I was actually, it was nice to be able to prove to myself that I could do a thing artistically that I set out to do. And that I refuse to be one of these guys that I know so many of, like I mention all the time, that say all the cool shit they're going to do and then they never do. I'm like, I'm not going to be those guys. I'm going to get it done and I'm going to be able to say, look, I did this work. And flaws and all, there it is. But even a half-assed comic or a not very good comic is better than the perfect one that sits in someone's head, never completed. Her who? Are you talking about this figure that I'm drawing up here? The girl in the cloak with the skull face? Because I actually totally should do that. We had talked about, didn't I? Is that you who I remember we talked about it, but I'm guessing maybe it was you because obviously you just brought it up. That there was talk of doing like a Masters of the Universe, like my version of them, but like a bullshit swimsuit issue. I should totally do that. Now, get some people, some other artists who want to contribute. Do like the old style Marvel comic swimsuit issue bullshit things. I forgot about that, but I do remember talking about it. Yeah, Daniel, I get that. The crazy thing is you're probably way more critical of your work than other people will be, which I think is true for all of us. You'll look at it, you're just like, ugh, this didn't work out at all. But then you'll hand it to somebody else and they'll be like, that was brilliant. It worked perfectly. Like, don't change a thing. You're like, what are you talking about? How can you say it's good? It sucks. I'm like, no, it doesn't suck. It works perfectly. So, kind of can't predict what another person's response to a thing will be. Whoa. Well, that didn't take too long to ink. Almost 2 hours, I guess. There's an Easter egg of the current story you're on now in the comic that you sent me. Now you got me wondering. Ugh. Let's see. I had it sitting somewhere right here just recently. Ah, there it is. Look at this bullshit black and white thing that I got. Not yours, but this other one. Adult action fantasy featuring Tawny's Tales. From how old is this ridiculous thing? I'm gonna look at your thing first. Is it this guy? I mean, you were obviously setting up, or is it the background element? Is that what it is? Because I remember seeing some superhero guys on rooftops. That's what it is, right? Yeah, all right. I did notice that when I was looking at it at first, but I kind of got just wrapped up in the rest of it, kind of looking at what was going on. I'm sure I've asked you, I'm sure you've said, what do you ink with, my man? What tools do you use? Because you get some really nice, long, feathering line strokes going on. Like the lines going on in this hand there. You're digital? Is all of this digital? Not all of it. No. The one I've seen you inking by hand, so this one's not. Are you talking about the one you're doing now? So is the current stuff you're doing by hand? Because I swear I've seen your hand and an inking pen inking stuff, right? Yeah, sure. This is pencil. I mean, I assumed.
Then there's something we totally negative from us. Check out their list with styles from must-have brands. These jeans start at just $54.99.
Okay. All right, that makes sense. Well, I have to give it to you, man. If what you're saying is true, this is all digital. Is it digital pencils and inks? Um, I usually have a good eye to identify digital inks. I would never, I would have bet anything this is all done by hand. So you have done, if this is all digital, at least digital inking, and whether it's digital pencil or whatever, but the inking, the finishing, if this is all digital, um, you have successfully hidden the digital so well, I couldn't tell, which goes to just reinforce how good the shit is. That's one of my favorite shots right there with all the shadow line work on it. Holy shit. I guess I can see some digital in the white cuts into the black line work, but that could have been just white media and then good cleanup on the back end. But I like how you do this squiggle. Like you've got a rendering technique where I mean, it looks like you just kind of do a squiggle back and forth like that. And then it translates into some looser lines. It's really good. These lines here, they look like it's just kind of a up and down and then tap, 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 tap out. Some squiggle, squiggle, and then line, 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 line. Here's a question for you, Mr. Dan Gonzalez. I'm wondering, was this supposed to be filled in black here? Because you've got this outline here and that line there. It looks like it might have been intended to be a fully blacked in shape to kind of match that. I didn't notice until right now. It's not necessary, but yeah, is that supposed to be blacked in there? That was on purpose, you think? I mean, it works either way, but I just, because it's such a solidly defined shape, it looks like it could have been meant to be blackened in. It's not a critique or anything like that. It's just kind of interesting. I just noticed it right now.
Hi, my name is Alex, and welcome to the Movie Test Kitchen. Today, we're going to talk about Hobbiton. I'm going to cover 4 of our top.
You were half awake on a bunch of these pages. Man, I've been there. You're like, I'm just going to keep working on this, do the best I can, and maybe I'll frickin' figure it out or not. I don't know. Yeah, he does pretty damn good stuff. This ridiculous book that I got. I got it because I wanted to show it on the channel, but it's got such adult content on it. From 1990, whoever these guys are, it's on like really cheap newsprint. Art and story by The Kid. So who the hell knows who made this? But yeah. It's a little bit graphic. And that doesn't even look kind of right. There's something weird looking going on there. But the artist did some pretty good stuff in this thing. There's some pretty good drawing. Outside of the weird monster stuff. Oh my gosh. I like this teleporting effect. Looks like they did it with some zipatones. That looks really cool. Yeah, it would fit well with heavy metal for sure. There's this alien chick. She's got 4 tits. I mean, I don't know what I'd be able to do with all of those. I would certainly like to try to find out. But I mean, and then the girls just all get into a little. I don't know if they're in like zero gravity, floating around doing the Lord's work. Yeah, they took the Total Recall thing. They went up from 3 to 4. But yeah, I wanted to show this on the channel, but I'm like, and I probably still could. It would just get demonetized. I wouldn't be able to get ad revenue on it. So I kind of have to save it for when I have like a really good month and I'm not worried about trying to hit my minimum kind of goal on a monthly basis. And then I could show it and not worry about it. But then again, I might get it actually, I don't know. They might actually kill the video entirely. I did have a video that I put out one time that YouTube deleted entirely and said, nope, you can't show that. I'm like, oh, well, sucks to be me, I guess. Coming next issue, Bora the Barbarian, the return of Cyfox, plus lots more Tawny. Look for it in January of 91. Such ridiculous stuff. Dan, you're liking this wacky book? It's silly. It's definitely like a heavy metal, like, obviously, like, there's a lot of sex stuff in it. It's some pretty graphic stuff. I mean, like, right? But it just kind of sucks to have something like that I can't really show. I guess if I were to, like, make a Patreon and do a Patreon exclusive thing, I could have shit like this, but so ridiculous. But I just saw this online. Somebody was selling it for like $1. I'm like, pfft. I gotta say that the title there with the Zipatone giving it like a metallic look, I think that looks pretty damn slick. Like I dig it. But yeah, I'm like, I gotta have it. But now I'm like, I can't do anything with it. Or I can, but I'm kind of limited. So I don't know. I did have one book that I got my hands on. I can't remember what the hell it is. Corbin. What's his first name? I know who you're talking about. He's a guy whose art I wasn't really aware of. I'd heard the name Richard Corbin, right? I didn't really know anything about the guy's work until very recently, meaning the last couple of years. And so I didn't know anything about it, but I did start seeing some stuff and seeing people talk about it. And I was like, okay. So now that I started seeing some of the work, started paying attention and picked up one of some comic that he's got. It's on the channel, but I can't remember what the title of the book was. But yeah, he's pretty freaking incredible. But I'm certainly not an authority on it at all. Outside of being able to look at it and go, that artwork looks really good. I've got to scan this thing for Mitch. Hopefully, he'll be interested in having it in his book. Den, yes. Ari, yes, it was that. Yes, it was one of those. So if you wanted to see a video on it, if you just search it up on my channel, thank you. Yes, you reminded me. It was pretty spectacular stuff. Yeah, like I said, I was late to the game with his work, big time. But I can absolutely see the skill. He sometimes made sculptures in clay to draw from. That's crazy. Now that is an artist. That is a guy who takes his shit seriously. Holy crap. That sounds awesome. I've always wanted to sculpt. As dumb as it sounds, like my limited experience with it, like one time when I was like a teenager, I sculpted a freaking skull out of snow and it like actually looked pretty damn good. And I was like, this sculpting things might be something I need to look into. Because I sculpted a skull out of snow. But pretty decent from what I remember. So Sculpey doesn't dry, or does it just dry very, very slowly? I used to know a girl who used to make all kinds of shit out of Sculpey long time ago. I haven't seen her in decades. I thought that the stuff dried, but I guess I don't know. Now that I think about it, I guess I don't know. Daniel, you did a little sculpting. You weren't good at it. Oh, it doesn't dry unless you heat it. Okay. Well, that's interesting. You know what my problem is I'd sit here and I know I'd get some of this stuff and I'd like, what should I sculpt? And I'd sit here and think about it and like never get anything done because I couldn't decide on anything. As dumb as it sounds, I mean, um, Pritchard, you're driving through some heavy fog. Yeah, don't hit anything. I remember a couple of years ago, I was driving home. I had like a 45-minute drive home from work, and it was thick fog. And I'm coming up on like, I was driving on some roads that no one ever drives on that late at night. So I was going slow, but, a little quicker than normally if I thought there would be any cars on the road, but I was being safe. But out of the blue, out of the fog, comes like a gaggle of ducks just sitting in the middle of the fucking road. And there was no way I could have done anything. They were just right there, and boom, boom, boom. I obliterated like three or four ducks, like just blew them to pieces because they couldn't see to fly, and so they decided to land in the middle of a road. And so duck kebabs. Yeah, 15 miles per hour in a 55. Yeah, I hear you, dude. I mean, you got to do what you got to do to get home safe, right? It's aggravating, but yeah, I blew away some ducks, and I come home and well, the wife at the time, she was in bed at that point. So the next morning, I'm like, "Honey, I ran over some ducks coming home." She's like, "What the fuck? Why would you do that?" I'm like, "Because fog, and I couldn't see, and they were in the road." She's like, "Oh, well, I guess they had it coming then." I felt a little bad, but only a little. Yeah, what the quack, right? God wanted us to fly. He wouldn't have taken away our wings. Well, I think I might be done for the night. Oh, shit. Dream of that lady right there, right? Yeah, I'm gonna shut her down. Still gonna be up for a little bit, but I'm kind of done drawing for the evening. So thanks everybody who's still hanging. I will catch you all next time.